And we are back with our South Shields FC chairman, Geoff Thompson, for the fans' question and answer bonus episode. Are you ready for this, Geoff?
Well, I'm kind of dreading it. You haven't given me any warning on what might be asked. So.
You get no heads up for this. So these are questions that we posted on social media. So people from Twitter, a lot of the Facebook pages have all got in touch and left a few questions for you. It's all good. It's all good. We'll dive straight in with a couple of questions from members of the Cyma branch. Probably seen their flags up there. They're a vocal bunch.
Absolutely.
So David Nye asks, what's more important, promotion or the FA Vars win?
That's a great question. I think as fans, I'm hoping they're aware, we've already applied to the FA for promotion and we've had the ground grading and all the things that I think I touched on in our earlier discussions around the ground improvements we've made were all planned to make sure that with success on the pitch, we have got a ground that will qualify for the Evo Stick and beyond. So my point is, we're all prepped, we've made the investment, and I don't want to obviously jinx anything, but based on our current league position, how we're performing, 18 wins on the trot, I'm very hopeful that we will be promoted. And interestingly, we're the only team, I think, other than Bishop, who've applied.
All right, okay, yeah.
So, promotion is important. Mm-hmm. Couple of things to say on that in a moment, but on the Vars, clearly if we do get promoted, we're no longer eligible for the Vars.
Yeah.
And South Shields have never done it. We've got a lot of our neighbours who have. Clearly, hats off to the likes of Morpeth last year,
yeah.
North Shields, Whitley Bay and others. I'm sure I've missed a few off. Spennymoor, I think, have won it. So it would be great to have Shields there, wouldn't it? And it would be interesting to ask that question of the fans, and do like a sort of bit of a tally chart. But I have to say, I'm not looking at either or. I'm looking at both without jinxing anything and without sounding arrogant. We've got to have a little bit of luck, but we've certainly got the team and the management to deliver on both.
Yeah, excellent. Well, you've asked the question, Geoff, to the fans. What do they want? Both? Which one? We'll see what comes back. So you've touched upon Mariners Park, Geoff, and we've got, stacks of questions around Mariners Park. So we've got John Hahn, Kevin Dixon, Terry Higgins, Chris May, Story Hall. The guys are all asking around the same theme in terms of future-proofing us. Should we continue to rise? So, what are the plans for the ground? Is it?
Yeah, good question, lads. Well, what we did was, we do have a master plan, and we probably need to publish that a little, in terms of what might Mariners Park look like. Mm-hmm. And I said earlier that I didn't want it to become, in any sense, a sort of white elephant. In other words, if you kind of did this big bang approach and you suddenly, hypothetically, overnight you redevelop the whole site, without the success and without the Shields fans getting behind the club, that wouldn't work financially. Yeah. So what we've tried to do is, whilst we've got the master plan for Mariners, we're going to get there incrementally. So all the things that the fans have seen last summer and earlier, the refurbishment of, we bought the freehold, obviously. We've refurbished the bars, put the new stands up, the 3G pitch. I didn't mention the drainage, but we've spent a bit of money. It was about approaching £70,000 on drainage.
Just a bit?
Yeah. So there's a lot of money that we've committed.
Yeah.
And as I say, that's all part of a longer term sort of master plan for Mariners. It's interesting because, when you look at it, it's not, in some respects, it's not in the ideal location. Mm-hmm. It's got some positive elements to it as well. We're close to a metro station.
Yeah.
We've probably got to work on some parking and what the options might be for fans in that regard. But we've certainly got the ability to, build a new stand where the stands are currently that we put up in the summer. The idea is, as part of the master plan, move those, build a brand new stand that side of the pitch. So yeah, we've got a master plan, and I'm very confident Mariners could look and will look like a proper sort of mini stadium, certainly capable of conference football and qualifying in terms of ground grading for that level of football. That's the master plan. That's where we want to be. Not to ramble, but we have looked and are still looking at other options.
Okay.
myself and Mike have been working with the council to explore other possible sites. So, could we create a brand new purpose-built facility elsewhere in Shields?
Yeah.
So we're still exploring those options. Too early to sort of set any hairs running and say, well, actually...
Okay.
And it would be wrong, actually, to even to do that. Because so the current plan, to be clear, is continue to invest and develop Mariners, create a little mini stadium that's certainly got the capacity for circa 5,000 and seated. So we're looking to create something that's,
Well, the lads are running hairs here for you because I've got Craig McCauley's got. Do you believe our council will ever be open to moving to Temple Park, Gypsies Green? So the guys are speculating now already.
Well, yeah. I mean, all I would say is that I know the chief exec at South Tyneside and the exec team there. I know the political leaders of the council, and they've been very supportive, and I think as thrilled as anyone with the progress the club's made. So, we're still in dialogue and we're still looking at various options. I think it would be wrong to sort of say, well, actually, we move to, say, Temple Park as an example. We're probably aware that, the rugby club are moving up there. There's a lot of land up there, so there's various sort of thoughts and discussions underway.
Yeah.
But I think plan A is certainly redevelop Mariners, invest there, and I wouldn't discount a move elsewhere, but it's not currently on the horizon.
Yeah. So Malcolm Brown asks, what are the forecasted crowd figures for the next few seasons? So you mentioned the master plan. Is this something that is included in the master plan? Do you look at figures going forward?
Yeah, it's a very good question, I think. And sadly, we haven't got to that level of detail yet.
Okay.
What we have got is a set of numbers, so we've got a financial plan.
Yeah.
And this master plan that I referred to earlier looks at the sort of infrastructure. So, we've appointed an architect, we've had some professional input, we've done a lot of work on sort of M&E and getting all the groundworks done. So, I'm sounding a bit imprecise, but certainly getting a ground that can accommodate 5,000 plus fans. I wouldn't want to say that's the limit either. What I should probably do on the back of this interview, Ian, is I said it earlier, but get that master plan communicated correctly. Maybe have a bit of a talk and invite some fans down, and we can share some more of that detail.
Excellent. No, that sounds good. I mean, looking at some of the questions here, they're all very much around that detail. People are interested in the detail, Geoff. And Craig there mentioned about it was Malcolm asked about the crowd figures. He was interested in were the crowd figures forecasted for the last couple of seasons, and have we totally blew those figures out of the water with the people?
Yeah, we've blown them out of the water completely. We did have a set of revenue assumptions and a rough cut idea of what fans we might get down there, and great question from Malcolm. We absolutely blew those numbers out of the water.
Excellent.
So yeah, it's been a great couple of years. I mentioned again how important it is the fans keep turning up. My job, if you like, is to make sure that we make it a good environment and a good place for people to come down and enjoy watching the football. Obviously, we've got to fund the first team correctly as well. We're probably, I don't want to quote numbers, but I know that we're paying at the very, very top end of what other Northern League sides are paying in terms of their overall first team wage bill.
Okay.
And that again isn't meant to be a boast. It's just we had to invest. It can't be though just throwing money at it, So again, Lee and Graham are very prudent and sensible, and they've got a great spirit, I think, in the dressing room, and we've got some great talent, as we all know, and we're just going to continue to invest in that. I think we've got a team. I mean, again, I'm not qualified to comment, but certainly Lee and Graham are very confident that if we can keep the team together and the squad together, that we'll have continued success, and we'll invest in it at the appropriate time. But
can I just touch on wage? But I won't dive in there. But is that something that the two guys come to MD and say, I want to do this? Can we do it?
Yeah,
is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, in essence, yeah. We've never said no.
Okay.
So, the fans will be aware of various new signings this year.
Sure.
A number of them are contract players. And we've always said yes to Lee and Graham's request and funded it. But, I'm my view is I'm really hopefully being very sensible with it, but we're spending the fans' money. If the fans turn up, I'm not taking any salary or any kind of dividend or anything out of the club, nor will I. Neither's Mike. Mike's paid separately from another entity, so he takes no money out of the club, and so everything that we make, whether it's the sponsorship, merchandising, gate receipts, the bar, it's all being reinvested, every penny of it. So yeah, exciting times. I think I mentioned before about this. I used the phrase sort of white elephant. What I mean is, I wanted it to be a kind of incremental process. I wanted the fans to turn up and enjoy it, and almost, we're all on a journey, and we should have a lot of fun on that journey. You don't want to just sort of rush to a particular end game. I want it to be, imagine if we look back and we've had all of this success, and I don't want to, again, you don't want to jinx anything, but it would be great to be able to look back and say,
I've got my Wembley tattoo booked in already, mate. So.
Yeah, me too. You know what I'm trying to say? That, it's the journey as well as the destination. It's just like all of us enjoying a little bit of success for Shields, and hopefully we can just keep that going. And I'm convinced we can.
I've got a question here from Chris Allen, and he says, "How far do you think you can take the club?" But I think we kind of get that. It's just I think you've covered that off, but.
Yeah, it's interesting. I met a guy on holiday recently who is the chairman of AFC Filed.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
And they're right up there now.
Yeah.
Top of I'm going to misquote. I think it's top of conference or maybe one below. Right. Shame on me for not knowing precisely. But my point is, having spoken to that gentleman, I won't name him, but a really nice guy, passionate about his football team, and he'd invested significantly in a new stadium. And so what I'm trying to say is, I listen to those sort of stories and examples. I've got a few friends who are part owners and board members of a number of Scottish football clubs. One of my good pals is involved at Aberdeen. Mm-hmm. And, my point is, it's interesting to sort of swap notes on all of their experiences, including the guy I mentioned a moment ago who I met on holiday. But I suppose my point is, I want us to continue to invest in the way I've said, and to incrementally have that success and enjoy the journey that we're on.
Yeah.
And, we'll evaluate whether we should ever move at some point in time, to another site, or we'll carry on investing at Mariners. But the whole journey we're on is going to be fun and exciting. I'm sure we'll have a few setbacks occasionally, but we'll carry on, and we'll, persistence, hard work, passion, we'll apply all of those things. And in terms of my own sort of, I haven't got a bottomless pit of money, if you like. So that's why I emphasise that the commercial model for the club has to be right, you know. So local businesses providing their sponsorship, which is fantastic. The crowds turning up, people buying their football shirts, all of that just makes the club sustainable over the long run.
Chris Allen also asks, have you got your hotel booked for the 21st of May? So you're on the spot, Geoff. Have you got it booked?
No, you know what, Chris, Chris knows me. I wouldn't want to jinx it. Right. And, we're all so excited about the Vars. And obviously this Saturday, the game with Newport Pagnell. I've already told a lot of the lads who I've bumped into that I can't believe I'm not there. I can't, I'm away. I'm out of the country, so it's not like I can avoid it.
BBC Newcastle are covering it.
Yeah, I gather, yes. So, live commentary from the ground, so that's terrific. And we've sold circa 2,500 tickets, so it should be a great day out. And I'm sure we'll get the result we deserve. I'm sure we'll get through. But again, nobody wants to jinx anything. I'm a bit sort of strangely superstitious. So I haven't booked my hotel room,
right,
Chris? Sorry.
There you go. You heard it here first. So Brian Foster asks, are there any marquee signings planned for next season? Brian suggests Martin Waghorn would be a great shout from Rangers because he's a Shields lad through and through.
Yeah, I noticed he scored this week as well, didn't he?
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I made the point earlier. What we've done with Lee and Graham is that it's entirely their call. They're running first team affairs. They decide on all of those matters, rightly so. I wouldn't interfere. Mike doesn't interfere. And what we do is we just, if there's a requirement and they want to go out and buy somebody, then we'll support them. That sounds a bit flash. I don't mean it like that, because clearly there is a limit. But, we think we've got a great squad anyway, and the lads that we've got can not only, they are doing us proud this season, and the belief is that they'll do so next season for us. Obviously a bit more travelling next year, which is a consideration. Yeah. But, I'm not sure about Waghorn, but you look at the calibre of the lads we've got, a lot of them have played, there's a number of people. I don't want to pluck out one or two individuals. It would be wrong because we've got a great squad. But, we all know that a number of them have played at very much higher levels.
Yeah.
And a number of them have narrowly missed out on a top-tier footballing career and not quite got to that grade. Having said that, you hear of stories like the lad that got signed by Stoke this year from, I think it was Newcastle Benfield. So my point is, there's still great opportunity for the lads. Not that I'd be looking to sell any of them, I hate.
You're going nowhere. But who would want to leave when you've got Wembley on the cards?
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely not. No, don't. But, isn't it exciting? I mean, if we get the right result on Saturday, we've got a double-legged semi-final. Again, I don't want to sort of jinx anything. But
we've got to talk about it, Geoff. We've got to talk about it.
And it would just be amazing, I'd love to think if we got there, the town and the northeast would get behind Shields. And, we've got a big town, I'll misquote the exact stats, but it's something like 100,000 people live in and around South Shields. And no reason why we couldn't get a big crowd if we got to Wembley.
Sure.
But more importantly, getting people down there day in, week out, so we can get the home crowds up to an even higher level.
We've got a good question here, Fracci, from Colin Porter, who's a long-time supporter, founder, member of the Old Supporters Association. So it's lovely to hear from the guys. He's delighted the whole club's taken off, both on and off the field. What Colin's noticed is the amount of families and children now attending the games, as well as disgruntled NUFC and SCFC supporters. Colin's question is, did you honestly envisage things would take off the way they have in terms of the crowds and the interest in the town?
Well, I agree with Colin. It's great to see, young people, girls and boys, granddads, fathers, sons, daughters, they're all enjoying the experience. And it is truly quite a sort of humbling thing, really. You get down there and there's, our average home gate's around 1,200 people. So, you got a good crowd of guys down there. More importantly as well, or as importantly perhaps, you've got that whole sort of feel-good factor. Shields has been discussed in the pubs and clubs, at work. We're quite active on social media. So it's great, that kind of whole halo effect, if you like, of the success the club's having and its impact more broadly, I think is just great. Did I expect it? No. I didn't. Maybe people will listen to this and think, well, he didn't have a plan, but I think it was very difficult. What happened was when we first bought the club and brought the club back to Shields, we got a consultant appointed and he wrote a business plan, with input from us. But certainly the gates that he and we thought were nowhere near what they are. So, it's absolutely unbelievable what's happened, and I just hope it continues. I touched earlier on, hopefully promotion this season, which means a bit more travel next year. And that's something that we all have to think about, because, we won't have as many local derbies, we won't have any unless there's a cup game or something, but a little bit more travel. So away support might be more difficult. Certainly, it means the home support becomes even more important, from a revenue perspective and being able to continue to invest in the club and the ground. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. And, I'm already starting to look at dare I say it, the teams that we might be up against next year.
Right. Now who's jinxing it?
I know.
I mean, that's a great question, and I mentioned the two big clubs there in the region, Sunderland and Newcastle, and Keith Nelson also mentions that people have become a bit disenchanted with those clubs. And do you think that's had an impact on South Shields? Yeah,
I wouldn't want to be outspoken, but I think that's absolutely the case.
Mm-hmm.
For my part, you've got. And I don't want to be, again, disrespectful to Premier League clubs and Premier League players, but there's a huge vacuum, if you like, between the life and the income and the lifestyle of that kind of footballer and the average football fan. And I'm just speaking personally now. I'm not entirely comfortable with that, and so when you've got lads who are pulling on a South Shields top, and yes, we're paying them they're sort of part-time, if you like, semi-professional. We're paying them appropriately and quite well for the level we're currently playing at. But they're pulling that shirt on because they love the game, they love to represent South Shields, and there's a connection with the fans. And so I think it's not just a sort of Sunderland, Newcastle phenomena. I'd like to think that there's a general sort of falling out of love with some of that top tier football and some of the values, behaviours, lifestyles that exist. I know I'm being really outspoken now, so I'll get into trouble.
Well, we've seen it this week. We've seen the lads off to New York, after a terrible performance at the weekend there at Sunderland, and you've got people complaining and saying they're getting rewarded for failure, and people they're not in touch anymore. Where you can turn up at Mariners Park and you're close to the players. They're engaging with the fans a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean that's a very good example. And again, not for me to comment, but you can't reward failure and that kind of lack of connection with the average life of a Northeast football fan is something that I'm not entirely kind of comfortable with. So yeah, I think for us, we just want to keep those sort of values and behaviours right. Lee and Graham are sort of very driven by those sort of things, about values, conduct, behaviour, attitude. So I know that we get the right reaction from our players. And I think it's interesting. I was talking to somebody about, obviously there's a lot of TV money in football and, Sky and BT. But now, increasingly games are being streamed live. And wouldn't it be interesting if, some of that money wasn't around at that top tier level and more of it flowed down into lower leagues?
It would.
And, if some of that can happen, then I think, non-league football, semi-professional football, it's got a great future. Having said that, we've got great ambition for Shields, and we are where we are currently, but we want to keep pushing the club forward. So
you do, and you've mentioned this master plan, and looking through a few of these questions, I think we do need that shared, Geoff. I've got Mark Nicholson's here. He's really excited about the future, and he's talking about 5-year plans and conference and League Two, and we've got Lee Hogan asking, is there a realistic time frame to reach these goals? And the guys are interested.
Yeah, it's great. And, I've got all of that ambition and desire, and there's no reason why we can't achieve it. I keep repeating statistics about the number of people in and around South Shields and in South Tyneside. We've kind of got a bit of a catalyst underway now in terms of people's interest in the club, and we've just got to keep that going. Why couldn't Shields be the 4th club in the Northeast? I'm talking about obviously Sunderland, Newcastle, Borough, and no disrespect to Hartlepool, but why couldn't we be the 4th club? And and beyond. But you got to kind of keep your feet on the ground. If you start predicting all of these things and ambition, then we all know what human nature is. Yeah. I will be reminded of it all if we didn't quite get there, but. You've got to start with some ambition, some passion, and you've got to have a plan. And we're going to do everything we can to get the club back up to those sort of levels.
About being reminded, you've said it, that's fair enough, but it's a journey, Geoff. The gift of hindsight would be beautiful, but you've just got to go for it. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it's great fun. I'm very much enjoying it, not that counts for much, but
of course it does. We're all enjoying it.
Yeah, no, exactly. As a fan, I'm loving it. And we've just got to keep doing the right things. And I know I repeat myself, Ian. Sorry, but having the kind of commercial model. I keep repeating the same points, but fans turning up, spending their hard-earned cash, us reinvesting that money in the club, in the infrastructure, in the players, of course. And all of that, if we can do that, then the sky's the limit. Why can't we carry on? And, we've got several promotions that we need to deliver on, but who knows where we might be in 3, 4, 5 years' time.
It's interesting, talking about the community feel and facilities. And we've got a nice question here from Michelle Sharp, who asks, are there any plans to provide match day ground facilities for the ladies team?
That's a very good question. And sadly, I'd have to say at this stage, no. But, we are very keen. We're trying to sort of help the juniors. We've got them all training down there now. We've got the ladies team certainly, properly tied to the club. We're trying to support them. So it's a very good question. I'm afraid I can't say categorically, yes, there is a plan to do so. Mm-hmm. But we're very, very supportive of the ladies team, the junior setup and the reserves. And, we'll try wherever we can to keep supporting them both financially and the use of the sort of infrastructure and facilities that we've got down there.
Yeah. It's a great question, and it's great to see. We've got one from Adam Brown here, and Adam's a local sponsor, so they're a business, and he's found the networking events that have been going at Mariners Park really useful. He said it works well. Everyone attending's got a similar interest in terms of seeing the club progress, but also trying to do inter-business together. So are there any plans to further progress the business side?
Yeah, that's and it's great to hear from Adam that he's experienced that and it's gone well. And thank you for your support. And most definitely, we've got a young lady, Alicia, who's our kind of commercial assistant. And to her credit, she's taken a lot of the initiatives that we've been talking about a little today. So things like those forums, trying to promote the club with more commercial sponsors. So yeah, we'll very much try and carry on with that. And I don't mean try and therefore it might not happen. Yes, it's very much part of what we'd like to do. I keep saying about the club being at the centre of the community, and that includes the business community. We've got some nice facilities down there, and we want our sponsors to enjoy coming down and doing that networking, enjoying being part of the club.
Well, that's great feedback from Adam. It's nice to see that that obviously enjoys it and wants to see that progressing.
Very much so.
So, Jordan Wright reckons that you should travel away with the Sima branch. Right. So, do you get many away games?
I do. Yeah, I try. I mean, home and away. I'm not sure my liver could sort of cope with or my singing voice or both. But no, I mean, we've got a great bunch of lads, and they obviously work hard during the week and play hard on a Saturday and enjoy being part of the club and getting behind the team. So yeah, I'll have to get on the Sima bus and get down with the lads. But,
right, there you go. You promised. There you go. Keep him to that. So Neil Watson asks, are there any plans to pay the Lecky bill?
I don't think we'll ever live that down, will we?
We won't. We'll have to go there, Geoff.
No. And it's right to talk about it. What happened was, I mentioned the ground improvements in the summer, and there's a long list of things that we did then, including writing a cheque for around £60,000 to get the new substation. That was, by the way, that wasn't to create the substation. That was just to get the electricity supply and create the substation.
Right.
So 60 grand, we parted with that. I could show the cheque stub to anybody who's interested. We did that back in the summer. And as well as that, we built, the new turnstile and toilet block, and the substation is in that toilet block.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So all of that was done during the summer, as well as the stands, the drainage on the pitch, all of the things that I've talked about before. However, throughout that entire period, our floodlights have been literally supported by an old generator, and it came out of Westall Pit,
right.
And the pit's been closed 40 years.
Okay.
So sadly, sod's law, the Morpeth game, the thing collapsed on us.
Yeah.
And just to evidence that, we had, again, one of our sponsors and one of the lads who's a keen supporter, helping us try and get the thing put right. As we all know, we couldn't get it recommissioned nor get any other form of supply ready for the replay. So we just put the matter to the FA.
Yeah.
The FA could have made any decision, including handing the tie to Morpeth. So it was entirely out of our control. The FA decided that it should be a replay. We spent, again, several £1,000s trying to get the supply sorted. And unfortunately we weren't able to, hence why the tie got moved to Morpeth. And then what I can say is that that's legacy and history.
Yeah.
Because, we did all we could to plan the supply back in the summer. That's now been commissioned. Yeah. And so, all of our electricity supply is now on the right footing through that substation to which I refer, with a new meter, new supply, and that's not just the floodlights, but the clubhouse and everywhere else. Because a lot of supporters will have been down when we've had things going off in the clubhouse because the power supply just wasn't fit for purpose. It's
all part of the journey, though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, again, it is, and all I can say is the club has always acted in good faith and done the right thing, and we tried to plan ahead back in the summer, and it's just unfortunate that the lights went out when they did.
So one from me, Geoff, thinking back over your involvement, what are the standout moments for you?
Well, just seeing the crowds come down, I'm slightly embarrassed about it in a way because, so many people come over and talk to me, which I love, and they thank me for my involvement. But, I don't want to, it sounds a bit cheesy and corny, but, I'm delighted to be involved. It's an absolute pleasure. I see it as very much part of the community, and, we've got a team of people who are behind the club. So whilst I'm the sort of figurehead, there's a lot of work and effort by so many other people who really deserve the praise more than me. And there's too many of them to mention, but, even old Jerry, who used to get out there and fork and maintain the first team pitch for us. And, there's so many others. Dick, who changed, these lads are in their 80s, and Dick, for example, cleans the changing rooms. Does he ever get a mention? Sadly, no. But he, certainly for me, people like Jerry, Dick, and many, many others, Bob, Dave, Gary Crutwell, Daniel, of course, who does the media stuff for us. There's so many people to thank, but I've probably lost my train of thought, but you were asking me, how do I feel about it, I think.
It's standout moments, I just thought, is there a particular
standout moments,
day or match or event, or I guess the whole feel that you just...
Yeah, it's all of that. Sorry, I did sort of lose my thread, but I was really just making the point that the standout moments for me are when, people are coming down to the game, being part of the club, thanking me, which again, I kind of went off on a tangent, but I was just trying to make the point that it's not really down to me, it's so many other people. Standout moments, we've had some difficult things, like, losing to Morpeth last year, 10-9 or 11-10, I can't recall, 10-9 on penalties up at Concert. High moments, Warren's Budweiser goal of the year last year. So, there's so many to think of. It's just been great, and we've got a really great football club and a great bunch of lads supporting it and girls, and it's just great to be part of it. It's just terrific.
Excellent. Well, thanks for the interview. Thanks for the time. It would be remiss if I didn't thank you on behalf of the fans. I've had so many. You're a legend, Geoff, Mark Swinney, Christian Bond. Thanks for what you've done for the town. I mean, there are people really grateful for your involvement.
Well, thank you very much, Ian. Thanks, and thanks to everyone. Thank you. So,
is there anything else you'd like to leave us with, Geoff? Or
no, just that point that I've repeated a million times. But getting behind the club, everything that we do, we're investing every pound that the supporters spend is being reinvested. So, long may that continue. Just encourage people to come down and get behind the team.
Excellent. Well, today it's the 15th of Feb. Big game on Saturday at Mariners Park. The Build-Base FA Vars quarter-final against Newport Pagnell Town. You can access Mariners Park from 11 a.m. on Saturday. So we've got entertainment, drink deals. So we're going to pack the park early. 2,500 tickets already?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a sellout. And, I'm not sure how many tickets are left, frankly. But it's going to be a terrific occasion.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the crowd will get behind the team, and we'll do what we need to do. We'll get through.
Do the business.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, thanks, Geoff. It's been great, and I'll see all the fans on Saturday.
Cheers. Thank you.
So there you go. Great questions and responses from Geoff. I think that feedback will be great for the club too. No doubt that'll help the comms team shape future communications. Sorry if I didn't get to read your question out. A lot of them were already answered by Geoff, or they were bundled together in other questions. Names I might not have mentioned, I can see here Andrew Purvis, Ian Heslop, David Murray. Anyway, thanks to you all for getting in touch. That was excellent. Did you enjoy that? Let me know. You can drop me your thoughts on the Industry Angel Facebook page. Let me know if you'd like to take this show further or anywhere else. Do you want to hear from anyone else in the club? Thanks to my company, Far North Sales and Marketing, for sponsoring the show. I look forward to seeing you all on Saturday at Mariners Park. Maybe we're all together at Wembley. Who's to know? I'll be more than happy to drink a pint of John Smith's with you. So, again, thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.